Hey friends, welcome to AmyFerrellArt. I am Amy, and today we're going to do a little line and wash, fun, whimsical girl with a flower. And I'm using a 5x7 sized watercolor paper. It's New York Central Supply 100% cotton, 300 pound cold press. And I'm using an Identipen marker. It has a larger tip and then a finer tip. So I've already got my image sketched on in pencil. So I'm just going to go over the outline with this marker, with the fine tip of the marker. So I like to do this before I put any paint on there, but then I also like to go over some areas after. And I'm just using sketchy strokes. I'm not doing a solid line. That way it doesn't look quite so, I guess, cartoony. Making some little strokes for her hair. At this point, I'm just using a light touch. I'm not doing trying for a solid dark line. And like I said, we will go back after we add the paint and it's dry and better define some lines. This is just giving us an idea. And I love the look of the line and wash where, you know, the watercolor paint kind of goes outside the lines that you've defined. I think that look, I love the look of that. So we are definitely not going to try to be perfect and keep our watercolor in the lines. These are her big boots. It's a very whimsical, fun painting. So yeah, I'm just kind of sketching fast, just making some little marks, and these are just very non-specific flowers and marks, grass. Okay, so we're done with this portion. Now we're going to add some paint. I'm going to use my silver black velvet brush. Comes to a nice point. So I'm mixing some yellow and some looks like quinacridone rose, just to kind of make an orangey color. Just a light wash of it. It's going to be on her face. A lot of water. Add a little more of the rose color for her cheek area. Just soften those edges, let it blend in a little better. Just lifting a little bit. Adding a little of that color to her arm. Down on her legs. Adding a little neutral tint, just very watered down, just for some of the darker areas. Just adding some ultramarine and some yellow. Adding a little more water, getting a nice soft blend. Cobalt teal. Add a first layer onto her dress. And you want all these to be pretty translucent layers. You don't really want a solid coverage. Getting some of that pretty quinacridone rose. Dropping in some water and let that kind of run down and make some pretty watercolor effects. Just drop in some darker, let it come down. Dropping in a little more pigment right under that flower. Adding some deeper color where there's some shadow under her feet. Getting a little buff titanium. Dropping in some water over that rose pigment that I laid down and try to get a nice random watercolor effect. Just dropping in a little buff titanium. It kind of creates a very pretty kind of antique old pink look. And just very organically dropping in some color where the flowers would be. Adding a little more darker pink to some areas. And coming back in with some of that cobalt teal. Dab that area, little of that, too much of that rose bled into that her skin color there. I'm just kind of wetting some of the petals right around the center of that flower, and I will drop in some of the darker rose color. And now I'll just add water and kind of let it blend out onto the petals. Adding a little more of the rose. And a little orange mixture. Start applying that in the center of the flower. Dropping in some water. Now just some of the bright yellow. Going back in with more pigment. Adding a little buff titanium to the ends of the petals. Just adding a little rose. Give her cheeks a little bit of a flush. Adding a little bit of color to ends of her shoes. Just carefully going under to give her a shadow right under her feet. On her hair, just a little rose yellow, little bit of neutral tint just to darken it and make it a little more neutral. Going in with a little more neutral tint, very watered down though. Let's get some the deeper colors, the underneath part of her hair, kind of the area closer to her face. It's going to be a little darker. Back in with a little, just little dabs of the darker neutral tint. Adding some darker color on the stem of that flower. Adding some more color and now lifting out some highlights. Adding a little neutral tint, give a little shading to that center part of that flower. Just little dabs of a darker rose. After it dries, a lot of times you need to go back in and add a little more. It dries a lot lighter, so and if you haven't, if you would give me a thumbs up Leave me a comment. Tell me how you liked this. If you'd like to see more of this style, line and wash, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Drop me a comment. Let me know what subjects you would be interested in seeing, or if there are any certain techniques that you would like for me to demonstrate. Do you like full-length tutorials, or do you just like short that just focuses on one specific area, the eyes, or anything in particular like that? And just lifting and trying to make a variation of shades. And you can go back if you want and darken some of the lines, which we'll do here just a little. Very important to let that dry before you go in with the marker again. And just make short little strokes. Don't, make sketchy little, fast little short strokes. That keeps it a little more random and a little more natural looking. And you can do as much defining with the marker after as you like. Just kind of see what looks right and what areas need a little more defining. And there is our line and wash, little girl with the flower. And thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more.